We'll start the second part of forensic audit. Okay, financial forensics and forensic audit. Financial forensics means the forensic which is directly related to financials. So financial statements law, if any fraud is happened, then forensic audit may be conducted. So it is directly related to financials, right? It is related to money, in fact. So meaning financial forensics means a combination of accounting and investigation skills. Financials ante it is closely related to accounts, right? So accounting related investigation. So financial forensics means accounting related investigation. Point number 2. They are the professionals who help in preventing the financial crimes. Okay. Preventing the financial yes, visible. So they are the professionals who help in financial forensic auditor. I'm talking about financial forensic audit. They are the professionals who help in preventing the financial crimes, and also they can recover the lost assets. So when there is misappropriation of assets, so these auditors can be able to identify the persons who have stolen the assets, and they help to recover the assets also. So forensic professionals are very much in demand in the following cases. Financial thefts. Can you say the example for this financial thefts? Cash or any valuable assets misused by the employees of an organization. Okay. See here. The areas to uncover this in the, it's not right. The areas where the customer, employee or any other individual steals money from organization. Customer, employee or any other individual steals money from organization. That is called financial theft. Steals. So this point should be highlighted. Steals money. Right? Point number 2. Securities fraud. It is basically a white collar crime where someone presents false information to the investors. Say, you know prospectus? Prospectus. It is a document which can be issued to public inviting funds, right? Inviting the share capital. So investor ki we are giving what? False information to raise the funds. So it's called security related frauds. Security related frauds. This can also be investigated by whom? Financial forensic auditors. Financial forensic auditors. Point number 3. Money laundering. Point number 3. Money laundering. Laundering. This is the word. It is regularly we use. Laundering. What is that? Washing clothes. Okay, washing. So wash చేస్తే ఏమవుతుంది? Dirt పోయి we can wash clothes to clean them. Okay, అవునా కదా? So black money can be converted into, laundered into what? White money. So the next chapter is related to money laundering only. So there we have a complete picture of money laundering. Okay, so money laundering, it is the process of making money look legal. Money look legal, but earned from the illegal methods. But earned from illegal methods. So illegally we obtain some money which is not accounted for, which is black money. It can be converted into white money using or making some frauds. So that can also be identified by the forensic auditors. So money laundering. Point number 3 is also easy. Point number 4, yesterday I covered. Corporate valuation disputes. See, market value of an organization, market value of the share, maybe 100 rupees, but we are showing it as 500. So valuation mistake. So fraud in relation to valuation of the securities of the company, right? Corporate valuation disputes, keeping the value of the company high, okay, where the company's capital and market valuation is oversized, overvalued. That is, no fair valuation is carried out. So when you value a company, so intentionally you are doing what? Excess, you are valuing excess. Overvaluation is being done. So that's the problem. That is corporate valuation disputes. Come to 5. Tax evasion. It occurs when a person avoids paying their taxes and hides his profit in shell corporations. Fake. Okay, shell corporations lo keeping his money. So not paying taxes, and that money is invested in shell corporations, shell companies. Fake. This point will also come in the next chapter. Okay, shell companies, Switzerland, black money akkada, Swiss bank lo how it can be invested. Okay, so everything we will discuss in the next chapter. Tax evasion point, right? So these are the points we need to understand, and these are the areas where forensic professionals are used. So how many points are there? 5. Financial thefts, security related frauds, money laundering, corporate valuation, and last one is tax evasion. So these are the 5 points you need to write. Next one, qualities of forensic accountant. Qualities of forensic accountant. So easy points only. Having a logical and skeptical mind. So skeptical mind and questioning mind. Logical mind and that interlinking. So if you find some fraud in fixed assets, immediately it may go to depreciation. So there is a logic between depreciation and fixed assets, right? So that kind of ability he must have to link one account with another account. Okay, ante kada stock and it will have its effect in P&L account also. So immediately stock there may be a mistake in the stock at the point of time of opening stock, purchases, sales, closing stock, అన్నిటికీ లింక్ ఉండొచ్చు స్టాక్ లో మిస్టేక్ ఉంటే. When you have a mistake in stock, it may be related to opening, purchases, closing, sales, ఎందులోనే అవ్వచ్చు. So this logical mind he should possess to interlink the accounts for the purpose of identification of the fraud, right? This is first point. Come to second point, giving attention to every detail. You must not leave any detail. Every detail must be focused, right? Point number 2, having value towards moral principles. Okay, inquisitiveness means curiosity to know what happened. Okay, when he is doing that audit, so he must have that curiosity to know what exactly happened. So curiosity lekapothe what will happen? Just like that he will accept everything. Okay, to know, the curiosity must be there for the auditor, right? So be spontaneous and immediate ga he must be able to imagine the effect when he identifies something. Say for example, there is a small fraud which is happened in cash. Okay, when a background lo where it may have effect and he must be able to imagine the effect of that misuse of cash. ఓకే, ఆ క్యాష్ ఎక్కడెక్కడ నుంచి వచ్చింది? క్యాష్ రావడానికి మల్టిపుల్ వేస్. సేల్స్, డెటార్స్ నుంచి రిసీవబుల్ విచ్ ఇస్ రిసీవ్డ్. ఓకే, సో మల్టిపుల్ ఏరియాస్లో క్యాష్ విల్ బి ఎఫెక్టెడ్, రైట్? సో హీ మస్ట్ హ్యావ్ దట్ ఎబిలిటీ టు ఇమాజిన్ ద ఎఫెక్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఫ్రాడ్ ఇన్ కేస్ ఆఫ్ వాట్? క్యాష్, రైట్? నెక్స్ట్ వన్ 6, హ్యావింగ్ టెక్నికల్ స్పెల్లింగ్ నౌ. Okay, technical knowledge in accounting and its impact. Technical knowledge undalata. Technical knowledge ante it is accounting standards, Indian accounting standards. On all these areas we must have that technical knowledge. Okay, general accounting principles, etc. Yes, techniques to investigate. Forensic auditor needs to investigate, right? So what kind of techniques he can use? Okay, so when you are appointed as an auditor for a company, first of all, you need to get the information. That information we can primarily obtain from public domains. Okay, directly rather than directly inquiring with the staff or management. So first we do getting the evidence from public domain. Public domain. For example, every year the company needs to file ROC, all the information, annual returns, which is public, which is there in the public domain. Annual reports, all these are there in public domain. So it can be picked up from public domain and make an analysis. Understand about the entity. Annual report lo all the information will be there, annual report. So annual report lo ఏముంటుందంటే all the details of the company will be kept, including audited financial statements also. Okay, so you can get the information from the public domain. So best example for public domain is annual report of a company. Annual report. So before the AGM is conducted, the company needs to issue annual report to the members, and those people will come after reading that annual report, and they'll sit in the AGM where the discussion takes place, right? So reviewing the public documents and doing background checks. It is one of the easiest method to obtain public documents and doing background check on companies to see its past dealings, searching any legally available information on internet. It's not interest. It is internet. Legally available information. The girl has written this notes while sleeping. Almost slept. అలా రాసినట్టుంది. So internet. It is not interest. Legally available information on internet. Right? Point number 2. Conducting detailed personal interview. Personal interview with whom? Employees of the organization. Management lo unna people ni we can just what? Inquire. Okay, conducting detailed personal interview. In this technique, one should make use of good combination of formal and informal communications. Good combination of formal, informal. Informal communication means what? Generally, you go to an employee, just like that you ask some information, not letting them know for what purpose it is asked. Right? This is called informal communication. Formal communication means as an investigation officer, you went there and you asked them and you called them to give the information for the purpose of audit. This is formal. Informal ante without letting them know you are getting the information. Okay, so you should make use of good combination of formal and informal communication, which can transform unwilling person. Okay, sometimes formal inquiry lo people may not give you the answer. Informally you go and ask. Okay, hiding the information that you are an auditor. అలా అడగొచ్చు. Okay, then you may be in a position to transform the unwilling person into a source of valuable information. ఎవ్వనో అన్నది కూడా ఇచ్చేస్తాడు information. Okay, unwilling person to provide valuable information. So what is the point that you need to remember in this area? What's the point? Second point. What can be remembered? So good combination of formal and informal communications must be made so that even an unwilling person may provide you the valuable information, right? So it helps in looking at greater picture to figure out magnitude of the illegal activity. Magnitude ante extent. Okay, magnitude enta, how much. Okay, magnitude of the illegal activity and the culprit who is responsible. So personal interview, if you do, formal and informal communication, if you can make, you will be able to identify who has done the mistake and what is the extent of the mistake, magnitude of the fraud, right? Point number 2 is also clear. Come to point number 3, gathering information from trustworthy sources. Easy point. when a piece of information is gained from confidential sources, all the necessary precautions should be taken to hide the identity of that particular source. See, say example, you are the people who are there in the class. Okay, so I conducted an examination. ఆ examinationలో I appointed Miss Bhavya, okay, to look after the examination process, how people are writing it. Okay, she is also a student and she is also writing the exam, and I asked her secretly to let me know who all copying it. Okay, undercover agent kanda she is appointed. Okay, so she is very sincere, and after the exam is done, she mentioned the name of Pawan Teja. ఎవరు సిన్సియరేనా? షీ ఈస్ టూ సిన్సియర్. షీ విజిల్ బ్లోవింగ్ అని చెప్పాను. వాట్ ఈస్ విజిల్ బ్లోవింగ్? Escalating the matter to higher authorities. Okay, Bhavishya escalated the matter to Mr. Ravikiran, and she complained about Pawan Teja. She complained about Pawan Teja and also Geetika. I thought, what happened? I must keep Bhavishya's name secret, right or no? If I let you know the person who has escalated the matter, what will happen? Bhavishya will be targeted. Bhavishya will be targeted, right? Point. Okay, you can obtain the information from trustworthy sources. Okay, however, you must keep that name silent. You must not let the other people know about this whistleblower. Okay, that is point number 3. Please read. Gathering information from trustworthy sources. When a piece of information is gained from the confidential sources, all the necessary precautions should be taken to hide the identity of the particular source. Okay, it is the whistleblower policy. Whoever blows the whistle, the identity must not be disclosed to any other persons in the entity. అలా చేస్తాను అనుకో, నెక్స్ట్ టైం షీ వోంట్ లెట్ మీ నో, రైట్? పాయింట్ నెంబర్ 4, analyzing the evidences obtained and financial statements. Okay, after getting the evidence, after getting the financial statements from the management, what we need to do? Make analysis of that statements, evidences. It helps in pointing out the guilty party and also helps in understanding how secure the company is against the financial scams. Easy on. Conducting surveillance, observing. Surveillance and keep on observing. Okay, it may take physical and electronic form of by which one can monitor and track official emails and messages. Okay, you these are the two persons, Lavanya and Bhavishya. Okay, they are the senior employees of the organization. Okay, combinedly they discussed and they planned to make some fraud, and they are formally communicating through WhatsApp or emails. Now, as a forensic auditor, I can keep a track on their messages or emails. This is also a technique to identify who has done the fraud, right? So point number 6, going undercover. What is undercover? Not wearing police dress. Undercover ante ade kada, mufti. So wearing civil dress, uniform. ఇది ఏంటి అండర్కవర్ యూనిఫామ్ భవిష్య చేసింది? It should be the last option, because even a small mistake while being undercover can signal the offender that something is wrong and person might disappear. So undercover lo unnappudu maintain that secrecy. Okay, if they know, they'll be immediately be alert, and they may escape, they may disappear, and that chance you should not give as an auditor. Okay, maintain that secrecy. Okay, you should not let them know that you are working in the audit department. Undercover and meaning. Okay, that's it. Ethical considerations and code of ethics. These are various ethical issues in the business law. When you do business, various ethical issues are there. On the first one, harassment. In that organization itself, there may be what? Harassment and discrimination at workplace. It can take place. It can take place. It can take place in following different ways. Okay. First one, age discrimination. Age discrimination. And in the organization law, everyone is working. Okay, and the priority will be always given to elder people. చిన్నపిల్లల్ని ఏం చేస్తున్నారు? దే ఆర్ జస్ట్ ఇగ్నోరింగ్ ఆర్ డిస్క్రిమినేటింగ్ అండ్ మీనింగ్ ఏంటి? లుకింగ్ దెమ్ డిఫరెంట్లీ. ఓకే, that may be the ethical issue which we find in organization. Okay, so freshly qualified CMA or CA వాళ్ళు ఏం చేస్తున్నారంటే పక్కిళ్ళు అడుగు, go that side and play. They are not okay engaging those persons in the work atmosphere. Okay, looking them differently. Disability discrimination చేస్తున్నారండి. డిజబిలిటీస్ లో లాట్ ఆఫ్ థింగ్స్ మే కమ్. జెండర్ డిజబిలిటీ ఉండొచ్చు కొన్నిసార్లు, లేకపోతే ఫిజికల్ డిజబిలిటీస్ ఉండొచ్చు అలా. నెక్స్ట్ వన్, రేస్, రిలీజియన్, జెండర్ డిస్క్రిమినేషన్. జెండర్ డిస్క్రిమినేషన్ అంటే దీస్ డేస్ మేల్ ఎంప్లాయీస్ ఉంటున్నారు కదా, దే ఆర్ గెటింగ్ డామినేటెడ్ by female, so this must not be encouraged. Okay, even male should also be encouraged. Gender discrimination must not be there. కావాలంటే మీరు చూడండి, when you go to an interview, one girl one boy, if they go to an interview ఎవరు? ఆనంద్ సార్ ఏది? Who will be selected? The girl will be selected first rather than boy. Both are qualified CAs. Imagine a case where both are qualified CAs. They went to an interview. Okay, there are very high possibilities that the girl may get selected. Gender discrimination, that must not be encouraged. Okay. సార్ health and safety at workplace. Okay, health and safety, various issues like hazardous, harmful production activities జరగచ్చు. So chemical industries, recently many times it happened. LG polymers, recently దువ్వాడ దగ్గర some blast happened. 32 people died, almost అందరు యంగ్స్టర్స్. ఓకే, సో రెస్పిరేటరీ ప్రొడక్షన్స్, అండ్ దాని మీనింగ్ ఏంటి? ద ప్రొడక్షన్ విచ్ మే హ్యావ్ ఇట్స్ ఎఫెక్ట్ ఆన్ రెస్పిరేటరీ సిస్టమ్ ఆఫ్ హ్యూమన్స్, దట్ హజార్డియస్ గ్యాసెస్. ఓకే, నెక్స్ట్ వన్, ఎలక్ట్రికల్ వైరింగ్. ఇది ఎలక్ట్రికల్ వైరింగ్ methods, ఎందుకంటే షార్ట్ సర్క్యూట్స్ ఎక్సెట్రా మే హ్యాపెన్, రైట్? మెషిన్ గార్డింగ్ అంటే చాలా మంది మెషిన్స్ దగ్గర వర్క్ చేసినప్పుడు దే గెట్ ఇంజూర్డ్ లాట్ ఆఫ్ టైమ్స్, చేతులు వెళ్ళిపోవడం. ఓకే, అలాంటివి. దీస్ ఆర్ ద హెల్త్ అండ్ సేఫ్టీ అట్ వర్క్ ప్లేస్. దిస్ ఈజ్ ఆల్సో అన్ ఇష్యూ. విజిల్ బ్లోవర్ అండ్ సోషల్ మీడియా. So now the social media is widespread, right? Social media, and those who are not liking their employer, the employees have become more alert and skeptical and making misuse of what? Online behavior, which means blogging, Facebook posts, etc., have become mode of exploiting the unwanted opportunities. So just like that, they are keeping false allegations on the employers on internet. Okay, ఏం డ్యామేజ్ చేస్తున్నారు? ద రెప్యుటేషన్ ఆఫ్ ద ఎంప్లాయీస్ మే బి డ్యామేజ్డ్ బై ద ఎంప్లాయీస్. దిస్ మే బి ద ఇష్యూ. ఓకే, బికాస్ వైడ్ స్ప్రెడ్ సోషల్ మీడియా కదా, జస్ట్ లైక్ దట్ యూ కెన్ కీప్ ఎలిగేషన్స్ ఆన్ ఎంప్లాయీ టు డ్యామేజ్ దర్ రెప్యుటేషన్ ఆఫ్ ద కంపెనీ, రైట్? ఎథిక్స్ ఆఫ్ అకౌంటింగ్ ప్రాక్టీసెస్. ఎస్టర్డే we discussed why do corporate frauds happen in. Why do corporate frauds happen? There was one discussion.
Prices వల్ల opportunities వల్ల
I'm talking about corporate frauds. Accounting లో just accounting principles misapply misapply. When you misapply the accounting principles, huge frauds can happen. Enron, waste management fraud. Avanya. Okay, so you can increase or decrease the sales for the purpose of getting the investors or avoiding the taxes, etc. Right? So threats to audit. So threats to the auditor, threats to independence. ఈ క్వశ్చన్ ఏంటనుకున్నారు? threats to independence we used to have in CMA inter. Threats to independence, self interest threats, self review threats, advocacy threats, familiarity threat and intimidation threat. 5 threats are there. Okay, now let us discuss about these 5 threats. Self interest threats. Say example, I am the shareholder of a company. I am holding almost 40% of the shares, okay, which is valuing 40 lakhs. Now I am appointed as an auditor. Okay, now I am doing the forensic audit. If I identify any fraud and if it is disclosed to public, then the sales value will fall down, right? Then who will be affected first? The auditor will be affected. Okay, I will be affected now because I am holding some shares. I am having the interest in that company. If that is the case, then I won't let the people know about this fraud because I will be affected very quickly. Similarly, there may be another example. Okay, say example, in the previous year I was the auditor. Okay, the audit was not paid by the company to me. In the current year, I identified some fraud. Okay, and they are asking me not to disclose to public because if you disclose, we won't pay your audit fees. So self-interest again. Okay, this is the threat which can make the auditor keep silent. These threats unte which can make the auditor keep silent. So please read self-interest threats. It exists if the auditor holds directly or indirectly the financial interest with the client. Directly or indirectly the interest with the client, financial interest. See example, he did not receive the audit fees of 2022. The audit fees and the client audit fees did not receive the audit fees for 2022 and the client is pressurizing to give positive report, else 2023 audit fees won't be also has not been paid. And in the previous year they are not willing to pay, in the current year also they won't pay అని చెప్తున్నారంట. అంటే they are trying to escape from payment. Okay, so this is self interest threats. Who is having that interest? Auditor is having the interest. Come to point number 2. Okay, self review threat. So in the previous year I was say imagine this year I am appointed as an auditor. As I am a CA, I am appointed as an auditor. Previous year lo I was not having the COP. I was into employment. I was the director of that company. So there is a fraud or there is an activity transaction which was happened in the previous year where I used to be the director. So I was the party to the transaction who initiated that. Now in the later year I became the auditor. So if I identify mistake in that particular transaction, obviously I will be involved. So నేను చేసిన తప్పనే అది. So it was done by me and it is again identified by me. So in the current year I won't identify such kind of activities and I don't let the people know that because it was done by me only. Right? This is called self review. And in the previously it was done by me and in the current year I am identifying it and I don't let people know. Okay, so this is point number 2. Please read. It exists if the auditor has to review his own work done. What is he has done the audit, he has done the transaction and in the course of audit he is identifying now, but he will keep it silent. Okay, example, in the year 2022 you were a director in a company and in the year 2023 you got the audit of same company. Previous year you were director and current year you are appointed as an auditor. So this is the problem. So this is called self review threat. What are the 2 points which are done till now? సెల్ఫ్ ఇంట్రెస్ట్ థ్రెట్స్, ఫైనాన్షియల్ ఇంట్రెస్ట్ ఉంటుంది. వాట్ ఈస్ సెల్ఫ్ రివ్యూ? The work which is done by you, and in the current year you are only the person identifying it. Okay, this is the threat. Point number 3, advocacy threat. Please read advocacy threat.
Public will get compromised.
See, audit is giving suggestions. Auditor encouraged the company to do certain activity. Encouraged. He promoted. Okay, and thereafter again he's in the audit. Okay, and now he's supposed to go against what he promoted earlier. అది కూడా ఏంటి? అడ్వొకసీ థ్రెట్. See here, come to example, assisting the client in selling activity, but at the same time working as an audit. Okay, so something he promoted in the company, and again he's appointed as an auditor. So now he is supposed to give the report against what he promoted earlier. అలా వస్తే అడ్వకసీ థ్రెట్స్. ఫోర్త్ పాయింట్, ఫిమిలియారిటీ థ్రెట్. దిస్ ఈస్ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్. ఫిమిలియారిటీ. Say the management of the company is very close to the auditor. Okay, they are very familiar. Say example, since last 10 years I am doing the audit of that company. So all the management staff, everyone becomes close to the auditor, and though the auditor finds any mistake, okay, there is a threat for the auditor. తెలిసినోడే కదా, why to expose అని చెప్పి he may come to a conclusion. Even if he identifies any fraud which is done by Bhavishya. Say example, Bhavishya is there in this college since 2020. Okay, so after 4 years, it has been 4 years. Even when Bhavishya commits any mistake, as an auditor I will ignore, because she is already close to me, familiar to me, because since many years she is doing work with us. Andu, right? Easy. Last point. Chadwala, do I need to read this? Familiarity threats. Familiarity threat exists if the auditor is too personally close. With whom?
Client,
Employees, officers, directors of the client. Best example, auditor's wife being CEO of that client. In fact, it comes in first point. It comes under first point. Self-interest threats, directly or indirectly. My wife is holding shares directly or indirectly. No? First point lo kuda it can be covered. Okay, come to fifth point, intimidation. What is intimidation? Threat. బెదిరింపు. నేనా? కామెడీ మొహం ఉన్నది. నేను బెదిరించడం కామెడీ. సో ఇంటిమిడేషన్, వాట్ ఈస్ దట్? బెదిరింపు ఇన్ తెలుగు. ఓకే, ఇంటిమిడేషన్. సే వాట్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ ఇంటిమిడేషన్? ఇందులో అన్నీ వస్తాయి. ఇన్ఫ్యాక్ట్ ఇఫ్ యూ గివ్ నెగిటివ్ రిపోర్ట్, నెక్స్ట్ ఇయర్ ఐ విల్ రిమూవ్ యూ యాజ్ ఆడిటర్. ఓకే, ఇఫ్ యూ గివ్ నెగిటివ్ రిపోర్ట్, దిస్ ఇస్ ద గన్ ఐఎమ్ ప్లేసింగ్ నౌ అని చెప్పి చూపిస్తున్నారు. బెదిరింపు, ఆల్ దిస్ కమ్స్ అండర్ ఇంటిమిడేషన్ ఓన్లీ. ఓకే, ఇట్ ఎగ్జిస్ట్ ఇఫ్ ద ఆడిటర్ ఇస్ థ్రెటన్డ్ by the management that he will be removed, replaced if he doesn't compromise his objectivity. Right? Intimidation threats. So there are 5 threats that we understood till now. Point number 1, self-interest. Point number 2, self-review. Point number 3, advocacy threats. Point number 4, familiarity threats. Point number 5, intimidation threats. Okay, next one, primary changes kaada, challenges. Primary challenges the company faces to implement the ethical policy. See right here, challenges the company faces to implement the ethical policies. So the organization wants to improve the ethical policy in the organization. Evaru? The management. The management wants to implement the ethical policies in the organization. What may be the resistance that they can face? Resistance and not accepting. They are trying to implement, but someone from other side is not accepting. What may be the cases? Point number one, resistance from employees. Resistance from what? Employees. Resistance and people are not accepting it. Okay, people are less adaptive to the new technologies. Okay, less adaptive to the new technologies. For example, attendance తీసేసి మాన్యువల్ అటెండెన్స్ చేసి బయోమెట్రిక్ సిస్టమ్ దే ప్లేస్డ్. అప్పటి వరకు దే ఎంజాయ్డ్. హూ ఎంజాయ్డ్? ఎంప్లాయీస్. బట్ ఆల్ ఆఫ్ సడన్ రెటీనా లేకపోతే బయోమెట్రిక్ వచ్చిందట. ఇఫ్ దట్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ డివైసెస్ ఆర్ ప్లేస్డ్, వెన్ ఎంప్లాయీస్ మే నాట్ బి కోఆపరేటివ్. ఎందుకంటే ఎగ్జాక్ట్గా టైం టేకింగ్. ఓకే, ఇట్ ఈస్ లాగింగ్ ఆన్ ఆల్ ద డీటెయిల్స్. లాగింగ్ అంటే ఏంటి? టేకింగ్ నోట్. ఓకే, వీక్ కార్పొరేట్ కల్చర్. ఓకే, ఇష్టం వచ్చినట్టు ఉన్నారు. కార్పొరేట్ కల్చర్ అయితే ఇట్ ఈస్ వెరీ డిసిప్లిన్. ఓకే, కార్పొరేట్ కల్చర్ అనేది. ఇఫ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ నాట్ దేర్, then it is quite difficult for the organization to implement what? Ethical policy. When it is corporate culture which is implemented in the organization, then everything will be smooth flow will be there. అది లేదు, కార్పొరేట్ కల్చర్ లేకపోతే it is very difficult to implement the ethical policies. Next one, it is not, they are not in favor of changes. Who are not in favor? Employees. Okay, and employees doesn't want, they do not want to come out of comfortable zone నుంచి బయటకు రారు. They don't come out of comfortable zone. This is point number one, resistance from employees. Point number two, say sometimes ERP system the organization wants to implement. ERP, generally they are using Tally lo there are many loopholes the organization identified, and they want to shift the Tally to SAP. ఎందుకు మారుతాం అనుకున్నారు? They want to change it to SAP. SAP is a integrated software which can link all the departments at one place, right from the beginning. Purchase department నుంచి marketing department వరకు everything will be okay, everything will be integrated. A smooth flow from when the purchases are made, అక్కడ నుంచి స్టార్ట్ అయ్యి ఎండింగ్ వరకు it is integrated in the software. ఇలా ఉండడం వల్ల at each and every point the mistakes are getting identified in every department because everything is at one place. So this is the software the organization is trying to implement, but it is too costly. Okay, say example, around 1 crore rupees they spent to develop this customized software. Okay, however the range of frauds whatever happening in the organization is 1 lakh to 2 lakhs. Cost of implementing the policy itself is taking how much? 1 crore. Okay, to safeguard the organization against the frauds which may happen at 1 lakh. Okay, then this may be the reason where the organization failed to implement that particular software, right? This is point number two. Cost of training and implementation fees can be high. Training implementations can be high. Sometimes the cost incurred might be higher than benefits derived, due to which companies think such expenditures worthless to spend. వద్దురా బాబు అనిపిస్తుంది అక్కడ. No, we don't spend that money on implementing these ethical policies అని చెప్పి they may feel, because the cost associated with implementation is too high, right? So what are the resistances that we can identify in the organization? Resistance from employees. Cost of implementing the ethical policy is too high. Okay, and you tell me one thing, when the ethical policies are too good in the organization, will that be an advantage or not? Yes. Okay, so you spend some cost, you get some benefit, right? So you invest something, you get the return. This is called return on investment. అవునా కదా? రిటర్న్ ఆన్ ఇన్వెస్ట్మెంట్ అంటే కదా. టుడే you incur the cost, but you can get the return maybe after some time. అవునా కదా? In future you will get the advantage, but now you need to make the investment, then you need to have that patience till you derive that benefit, right? So patience, lack of patience is the major point. అంతవరకు చేయలేరు. You are not in a position to calculate the ROI. What is ROI? return on investment. Today you need to make the investment and you need to wait for some time to get the return, right? This is point number 3. See, inability to determine return on investment, inability to determine return on investment. Implementing the ethical policy doesn't give fruitful results. Fruitful వేరు, results వేరు కాదు.
Fruitful results immediately.
Fruitful results immediately, comma won't be there. Fruitful results immediately. It generates the return after later stage, but at the same time patience is something which is lacking. We need to have that patience to wait till you receive the returns. Beautiful, అయిపోయింది. Please read these 3 points. You must understand one thing, we are almost at the end of the chapter. That's it. I will leave you early today. It is 41 minutes అయింది ఇప్పుడు starting. And another 20 minutes we will be able to complete. Today we have only 1 hour class. Tomorrow we'll start anti-money laundering. అయిపోద్దా 10th లోపు మేనేజ్మెంట్ వాడి
మీరు అనుకుంటే అయిపోద్ది ఫస్ట్
మామూలుగా ఉండదు. నన్ను కంగారు పెడితే ఇంకా ఫాస్ట్గా అయిపోద్ది తెలుసా.
కంగారు పడిపోయి చెప్పేస్తాను.
నేను November 9th వెళ్ళిపోవాలి.
ఇప్పుడు ఎవరు కంగారు పడుతున్నారు?
నేను అందుకనే స్పీడే చెప్తున్నాను అనలేదు కదా. నేను మామూలుగానే November 9th అవుతుంది అంతే. అయినా నేను స్పీడే చెప్పాను రా. అందులో స్పీడ్గా ఎలా చెప్తాను? తెలుగు అయితే పోనీ స్పీడ్గా చెప్పవచ్చు.
దొంగడు ఎక్కువ మాట బయట ఒక మాట మాట్లాడుతాడు.
ఏరా ఇంగ్లీష్లో స్పీడ్గా ఎలా చెప్తాం? తెలుగు అయితే పోనీ స్పీడ్ మాట్లాడటానికైనా అవుతుంది. స్పీడ్ చెప్పాను.
ముందు 4 రోజులు కొట్టి కదా ఫాస్ట్ గా అని అందరూ వేస్తారు. ఇంటిమిడేషన్
నిన్ను అండ్ బెదిరించింది నేను ఇప్పుడు. నువ్వు చెప్పకపోతే నిన్నురే నువ్వు సర్లేరా నేను స్పీడ్గా చెప్పాను మళ్ళీ నీకెందుకు రిస్క్.
అబ్బాయి అన్నాక కొంచెం గచ్చ ఉంది.
చూసావా ఆ అబ్బాయికి ఎలాగున్నాయి. ఏంటంటే
అమ్మాయి కాదని సీరియస్ వస్తుంది.
కంప్లీట్ ఇట్. ఆ ముందు చదవండి. టేక్ 5 minutes టైం అండ్ రీడ్.
యాంటీ మనీ లాండరింగ్ నోట్స్ చెప్పచ్చు, అదే ఫుల్ నోట్స్ కంపేర్ చేశారా?
చేసి
మా book
అక్కడ 70-80 పేజీలు ఉంది.
100 పేజీలు ఉంది, 11 pages తోనే తగ్గుతుంది.
అక్కడ రిపీటెడ్ ఉంది ఆ 80 పేజెస్. ఇప్పుడు ఎక్స్ట్రా ఉన్నా నేను చెప్తాను. రెడీయా? Right. The next area is certified fraud examiner. Okay, there will be an examination which is conducted, and if you can pass, then you will be called as certified fraud examiner. And there will be an association for those professionals, and that association is called as Association of Certified Fraud Examiners. Okay, so how we have as an auditor, we need to conduct, we need to have that fundamental principles, right? Fundamental principles: integrity, objectivity, confidentiality. Similarly, those principles are applicable for whom? CFE also. CFE also. Okay. The first one, integrity and objectivity. You know what is integrity? Honesty. CFEs shall not sacrifice integrity to serve the client. This is to serve the client. At the same time, they shall remain unbiased. Remain unbiased and impartial in discharging their duty. Unbiased spelling marchukun. Okay. CFEs shall not sacrifice the integrity to serve their clients. At the same time, they shall remain unbiased and impartial in discharging their duties. Unbiased and enti? Partially ఉండకూడదు. They must not support any one side. Okay, they must clearly observe everything. That honesty must be exhibited. Right? This is integrity. And objectivity, you know, objectivity, having strong facts. So before they conclude something, strong basis must be there in their hands. Right? So point number 2 is also simple. Professional competence. See, if I have that capability to do that audit, then you go and do. Otherwise, you are not supposed to accept that. See, CFEs shall be competent and shall not accept the assignment where competence is lacking. When the competence is not there, you shall not accept the audit. They shall keep on updating and upgrading their skills and competence. So every time the new technology, the new frauds may be implemented. Fraudsters are too intelligent. They do frauds different time, different ways. They commit the fraud. Now, as an examiner, you also need to have that intelligence, logical mind, competencies, updation. కొత్త సాఫ్ట్వేర్స్ అప్డేషన్ అవ్వడం. సో యువర్ స్కిల్స్ మస్ట్ బి అప్గ్రేడెడ్. సో అలా ఉండాలట ప్రొఫెషనల్ కాంపిటెన్స్ అంటే. ఓకే, సో ప్రొఫెషనల్ కాంపిటెన్స్ మీన్స్ వాట్? ద స్కిల్స్ ఆఫ్ ద ఎగ్జామినర్ మస్ట్ బి ఆల్వేస్ అప్డేటెడ్. యూ మస్ట్ రిమైన్ updated, not outdated. Point number 3, professional care. Professional care. So while exercising his duty, CFE should be diligent and careful, critical and analytical. అది critical, అని పెట్టుకోండి. critical, analytical and skeptical while discharging their
responsibilities.
Yes. Analytical అంటే వాట్ ఈస్ ద మీనింగ్ ఆఫ్ అనలిటికల్? రిలేషన్షిప్స్ ని అబ్జర్వ్ చేయడం. సో అనలిటికల్ ప్రొసీజర్స్ వి నో, ట్రైంగ్ టు ఎస్టాబ్లిష్ ద లింక్ బిట్వీన్ రిలేషన్ బిట్వీన్ డిఫరెంట్ ఐటమ్స్ ఆఫ్ ద ఫైనాన్షియల్ స్టేట్మెంట్స్. అనలిటికల్. గ్రాస్ ప్రాఫిట్, ఇట్ ఈస్ ద లింక్ బిట్వీన్
Sales ki
gross profit. Gross profit ratio is nothing but gross profit divided by sales. Professional care. Next, understanding the client and communicating with them. Okay, understanding the client and communicating with them. Certified fraud examiners, while doing their work, must have clear understanding. Must have clear understanding of scope and limitations, and if there are some changes, then it should be communicated to the client. See, first of all, it must be properly planned, right? So the scope must be defined. So it must be agreed between whom? Client and the auditor, examiner. If there are any changes in the scope, then it must be informed to whom? Client కి ఇన్ఫార్మ్ చేయాలి. సో చదువుకోండి, ఈజీ. ఇఫ్ దేర్ ఆర్ సమ్ చేంజెస్ ఇన్ దట్, ఇందులో స్కోప్లో ఇఫ్ దేర్ ఆర్ ఎనీ చేంజెస్, that shall be communicated with client to establish better understanding, and must communicate significant findings of fraud examinations. After doing the fraud examination, any significant findings must be communicated with the client. So confidentiality అంటే మీరు, so in the process of doing the examination, you get a lot of information of your client. So that information shall be kept secret. It must not be informed to anyone. There may be two possibilities. After taking the prior permission of the client, it can be disclosed, or in the court of law it is asked. Then you may be in a position to answer this. The confidentiality doesn't apply in this case. So this is point number 5, confidentiality. You can refer professional ethics chapter. Andro we completed this confidentiality, right? Come to last question once. Code of ethics for CFEs. Code of ethics for CFEs shall always demonstrate professionalism and diligence. Professionalism ante and diligence ante carefulness. Shall not be involved in illegal or unethical conduct. Oh, you are appointed to identify the illegal activity. There is no point when you are illegal. Taking money from them, settling everything in a fine manner, it must not be supported. Okay. Always maintain high levels of integrity and objectivity. Must comply with the orders of the court. Easy. 5th point కూడా easy. And always be skillful. Competent కాదు, competent. నేను నీకన్నదమ్మ చిన్న ఇందులో బొమ్మడికెళ్ళి దొంగట బుధలు తడుకుంటున్నాడు. నిన్నేమైనా అన్నుందా? నేను ఈవీఎంఐ ఎవరు తప్పు రాసిందని చెప్తున్నా. ఇట్ ఈస్ కాంపిటెంట్. ఓకే. స్టాండర్డ్స్ ఆఫ్ ఎగ్జామినేషన్. ఏ ఎగ్జామినేషన్? సర్టిఫైడ్ ఫ్రాడ్ ఎగ్జామినర్ అన్నాం కదా, వాడు చేసే ఎగ్జామినేషన్. వాడు ఎగ్జామ్ రాస్తున్నాడు. ఆడ ఎగ్జామ్ రాయడం ఏంటి? కష్టమే. రివాల్యుయేషన్ పెట్టాల్సిందే 10th క్లాస్. స్టాండర్డ్స్ ఆఫ్ ఎగ్జామినేషన్. వాడు చేసే ఎగ్జామినేషన్, వాడు రాసే ఎగ్జామినేషన్ కాదు. అదే ఎగ్జామ్ రాసేవాడిని ఎగ్జామినర్ అంటారా? అర్రే నాకు ఇది తెలియదు నిజంగానే. ఫ్రాడ్ ఎగ్జామినేషన్. దట్ ఎగ్జామినర్ షల్ అబ్టైన్ కంక్లూజివ్ ఎవిడెన్సెస్. అదే కదా, ఫ్రాడ్ కేసెస్ లో you must get conclusive evidence, not persuasive evidence, right? So shall obtain conclusive evidences which should be complete, reliable and relevant. Okay. Shall be alert in terms of biasness of witnesses. Witnesses అంటే ఎవరు? సాక్షి. ఓకే, విట్నెసెస్ అండ్ ట్యాంపరింగ్ ఆఫ్ ఎవిడెన్సెస్ అలాంటివి జరగకుండా మస్ట్ బి అలర్ట్. ఓకే, సో ఇట్ మస్ట్ నాట్ టేక్ ప్లేస్. ట్యాంపరింగ్ ఆఫ్ ఎవిడెన్సెస్ ఎక్సెట్రా మస్ట్ నాట్ టేక్ ప్లేస్. He must be alert for that situations. Who? Exam. Right. Evidence collection. Okay, they shall obtain whatever data they can collect. So all the skills they can use for the purpose of getting the data which can be used as evidence. Who shall obtain? Examiners shall obtain, right? And carry out data mining. Data mining and getting the data, digging. Okay, trying to get each and every possible data which supports the evidence, right? And get the relevant information out of it. Okay, their documentation shall vary from client to client. It depends upon the fraud, right? It depends upon client also, right? Last point, standards of reporting. So examiner's report may be oral or written. It includes the fact of witnesses, తర్వాత experts witness testimony. Testimony means declaring something as right. Testimony means what? Declaring something as right, correct. Declaring something as correct. Okay, next one, no particular format or structure of reporting. There is no particular format, so it shall not be misleading. Must be based on sufficient and appropriate audit evidence only. Report you must give only after getting the evidence, right, which is sufficient and appropriate. Must have separate paras for, so how the auditor's report will be segregated, right? So there will be various paragraphs. Similarly, this examiner's report must also have separate paras. Okay, opinion, conclusions, recommendations, subject matter అంటే area of fraud, subject matter. So principles followed to examine, methodologies అంటే sampling, detailed, ఎలా how they arrived at that conclusion, the methodology what they followed to get the conclusion, right? Members area of knowledge కాదు, చూడు టెక్స్ట్ బుక్ టెక్స్ట్ బుక్ లో ప్లీజ్ రీడ్ దిస్ Z పాయింట్. లాస్ట్ పాయింట్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఇది స్కిల్స్, ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్, ట్రైనింగ్, ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఆఫ్ ద ఎగ్జామినర్. అంటే an introduction of the examiner. నాకు ఇంత స్కిల్ ఉంది, this is the experience I have, based on this I am giving this opinion. Please read G point once. Standards of reporting. Maybe our examiner's team will be there, right? Our team lo individually who are having what kind of knowledge. Our members అంటే team of examiners. ఉందా క్వశ్చన్ ఉందా?
Different.
Give it to me once. This is the last point.
General reporting content అని చెప్పి రెండే. The members area of knowledge అని ఉంది చూడు. Reporting content లో last line.
అక్కడ రాసుకో మెంబర్స్ దగ్గర టీమ్, స్టాఫ్, ఎగ్జామినర్ స్టాఫ్. సరే అన్ని పాయింట్స్ కవర్ అయిపోతున్నాయి అన్ని, ఇప్పుడు నేను చెప్పిన అన్ని ఉన్నాయి.
నేను చదవడం ఒకటే కాదు.
Okay, this is audit staff or examiner staff number center, right? So with this I completed forensic audit. It carries 5 marks in the final examination.